Hi, Mel here, and in today's video I'm heading out on an around-the-world trip that included 7 flights, had me traveling more than 20,000 miles, and took me through 6 different countries. It was the trip of a lifetime that I'll never forget. My first flight of the trip was on Turkish Airlines, from my hometown of Chicago all the way to Istanbul, Turkey. My flight was in business class aboard one of their Boeing 787-9 Dreamliners. I've flown Turkish Airlines business class before and I loved it, but that was over a year ago, and it was aboard one of their A350-900s instead of the Dreamliner. So what did I think? Did I enjoy my 10.5-hour flight? Was this experience as great as my first one? I hope you'll come along with me today to find out. Also, if you enjoy this type of content, I hope you'll hit the like button and subscribe. And with that out of the way, let's get started. My flight to Istanbul was scheduled to depart O'Hare International Airport at 11:25 in the morning. Since Turkish Airlines is part of the Star Alliance, I would usually head to Chicago's United Polaris Lounge before my flight. But sadly, the Polaris Lounge was closed due to a major renovation and expansion project. Luckily, not all was lost though, because another Star Alliance member, LOT Airlines, opened a new lounge in Chicago in December, so at least I'd be able to check out that lounge. The LOT Lounge is in Terminal 5, making it a very convenient option for my flight today. My Uber ride to the airport that morning was quite lovely since the trees en route were in full blossom. I arrived at Terminal 5 with just enough time to clear security and spend some time in the lounge. Since I was traveling with only a carry-on and had already received my boarding pass through online check-in, I was able to skip the usual check-in process and head straight to security. Security was surprisingly busy, even the TSA pre-check line. But I still made it through with enough time for a quick lounge visit. I double-checked on my gate, M17, which was incredibly convenient since the LOT Lounge is located right next door. So let's head in and check it out. The lounge is on the smaller side, but I like the decor and the atmosphere. The windows welcome in plenty of sunlight as well as views of the tarmac. There are also plenty of nice seating options scattered throughout the lounge. If you need to make a call or get some work done, there are 2 private rooms called huddle spaces you can use. And if you're in need of a quick nap, there's a sectioned off area that gives you a little more privacy while you stretch out and relax. The food selections are not very impressive, especially when you compare them to the offerings at the Polaris Lounge. But at least there was some variety and the quality looked decent. I didn't get a chance to try the food because I wanted to save my appetite for the flight, and frankly, the offerings weren't very tempting to me. I did grab a drink though. There are self-serve beverages, as well as a full-service bar with several nice wine and champagne options. Since it was morning, there was also a nice self-serve Bloody Mary station. I'm guessing that a different cocktail is offered later in the day. Before heading to catch my flight, I went to check out the bathrooms. They were pretty standard, but also very clean. The lounge also has one shower suite available, so make sure to sign up for it as soon as you arrive if you're hoping to freshen up. And with that, it was time to catch my flight. As I mentioned before, my gate was right next door. And as I arrived, boarding had just begun. My flight to Istanbul would be aboard one of Turkish Airlines' Boeing 787-9 Dreamliners. The aircraft is equipped with an economy cabin of 270 TSI Epianka seats arranged in a 3x3x3 configuration across 2 separate cabins. The business class cabin features 30 Stelia Aerospace Symphony seats in a staggered 1x2x1 configuration. Each seat has direct aisle access and converts to a 6-foot 4-inch lie-flat bed. If you want a window seat, it's best to choose one that's in an even row because they're closer to the window, offering a better view and more privacy. If you select the middle section, the odd-numbered rows have seats next to each other, and the even-numbered rows have seats that are apart. There's a screen located between the middle seats that can be lowered or raised to half or full height to customize the level of privacy between passengers. My seat for the flight would be 4A. I made my way down the aisle to my seat. I continue to be impressed with the high-end look and feel of the Turkish Airlines business class hard product. The color palette has a modern and clean look with mixed shades of gray and golden beige accents. The materials themselves feel upscale, and I love the aesthetic created by the contrasting textures and embossed stitching. I found a single pillow on the seat, and on the footrest there's a bag with slippers that you can put your shoes in, as well as a plastic wrapped blanket. I took a seat to get a better look around. There's a generous amount of legroom, and the seat itself is quite comfortable. Not surprising given the fact that Stelia Aerospace reportedly uses Alcantara padding, which is a material used in sports car seats. Both of the seats' armrests can be lowered and stowed for sleeping, or raised for support when seated. Once I was comfortable, I checked right away for individual air vents. I was relieved to see them, knowing that I'd luckily have control over the airflow of my space. But on the flip side, I wasn't pleased to find the automatic window darkening blinds. But let's hope for the best and continue with our seat tour. If you're looking to stow your personal items, straight ahead are 2 levels of potential storage space. But since you'll likely use the top level for your legs, that leaves the space underneath as the best option for your shoes and larger personal belongings like a backpack. On my right side is a countertop with decent surface area and a storage compartment with a sliding door. Inside are the headphones, which we'll look at more closely later. The compartment also houses the universal power outlet. To close it, you just slide the door to the right. Down below is the Inflight Entertainment remote, which we'll look at more closely later. And right above that is the headphone jack and the touchscreen control panel, which is not noticeable until you tap it. It illuminates once you touch it. This is how you operate the lights, adjust your seat, put on the Do Not Disturb sign, call for assistance, and power up the in-flight entertainment screen. Also on your right is a hook for your jacket and one on which you can hang the headphones. 3 reading lights can be found on the privacy barrier to your left, providing flexibility for 3 different levels of light. Finally, if you look straight ahead, you'll find the in-flight entertainment screen, which is an 18-inch HD touchscreen display. We'll check it out more closely later. Underneath the screen is the tray table, which can be pulled out and unfolded to create a large and stable surface that can be positioned closer or further away from you depending on your preference. When I finished checking everything out, I decided to change into my slippers. And right about that time, the flight attendant came by with a scented wet towel, as well as the amenity kit and a pre-departure drink of lemonade with fresh mint, which I love. And the onboard chef had dropped off the menus. Yes, Turkish Airlines has an onboard chef, called a flying chef, to help elevate the dining experience. I took a look at both menus so I could let the chef know what my order would be. In addition to flying chefs, Turkish Airlines also offers something called Dine on Demand, which means you can eat at any time during your flight. The menu listed an array of starters and desserts that would be presented during the meal on a trolley. For the main course, I was given 3 options: grilled wild sea bass, fillet of beef, and gnocchi with porcini mushrooms. I selected the fillet of beef. The second page of the menu provided the options for our pre-landing meal. The bar menu was quite extensive and offered several Turkish selections in addition to options from France and Spain. On offer were a variety of white wines, red wines, a rosé wine, a port wine, Taittinger champagne, aperitifs, and beers. In addition to the food and bar menus, I had also been given a coffee menu. This was a first for me, and as a big coffee drinker, I was really excited about it. How cool is that? Now that my order has been placed, let's check out the amenity kit. The amenities are packaged in a large, slim Lanvin pouch. Lanvin is a French luxury fashion house. Inside the pouch are black socks with rubber grips, earplugs, a black eye mask that was nicer than most I receive, toothbrush and toothpaste, and Lanvin lip balm and hand cream. Overall, a pretty nice amenity kit. I was still enjoying my pre-departure drink as the plane pulled away from the jet bridge. I think Turkish Airlines does a great job with their safety announcements. The animations they use are really cute. Before I knew it, we were headed onto the runway. And shortly after, we were taking off. Once the seatbelt sign was turned off, I headed to the bathroom. It's average size, but nice, with a bright mirror over the sink as well as a full-length mirror on the opposite wall. The sink and toilet areas were both very clean, and I really appreciate that everything is touchless, including the flush button, the sink, and the garbage flap. I also appreciate the molten brown amenities. And because of the Reed diffuser oil, the bathroom smelled really nice. When I got back to my seat, I decided to check out the entertainment options before dinner arrived. The remote control can be released with the touch of a button. You can then use it to pull up the menu and scroll through all your options. You can also use the IFE screen as a touchscreen if you prefer that over the remote. Either way, the entertainment system is intuitive and surprisingly responsive, and there are plenty of options to choose from. Hundreds of movies from all around the world, TV shows, music, live TV, and of course, the flight map, which uses Voyager 3D. Turkish Airlines provides Denon noise-canceling headphones on their long-haul flights. I find them to be pretty comfortable, and the audio quality is really quite good. And if none of the in-flight entertainment options appeal to you, there's always the internet. Turkish Airlines provides its business class passengers with free Wi-Fi for the entire flight. But for me, I decided to go with an episode of Friends. You can't beat the combination of Friends along with mixed nuts and lemonade. Onboard dining is one of the highlights of Turkish Airlines business class. As I mentioned before, there is always a flying chef who oversees the menu and the meal service, and as a result, the food is usually quite good. But it's not only the actual food. The airline also puts a lot of effort into meal presentation, and you can tell. Before meal service began, I stopped by the galley and caught a glimpse of the preparation process. Shortly after this, dinner service began. Having a tablecloth, proper silverware, and real salt and pepper shakers really adds to the experience, but my favorite thing is the cute little candle. The chef himself came by with what they call the world's oldest bread. I have no idea whether it really dates back 12,000 years as they claim, but I did really enjoy the taste. Not long after that, the trolley of starters came by and I opted for carrot soup, as well as green bean yogurt salad, Mediterranean salad, and potato samosas. The soup was very fresh and flavorful. The 3 appetizers were also quite good, but I think the samosas were my favorite. For my main meal, I had ordered the filet of beef with grilled vegetables and roasted potatoes. Everything was pretty good, but for me, the filet was a little bit overcooked. I really wanted to save room for dessert, so I didn't finish quite everything. Like the starters, dessert was also presented on a trolley. I selected the chocolate cake with sauce, the strawberry ice cream atop sliced almonds, and the Turkish walnut dessert that looked like baklava to me. I am a big sweet tooth, so I thoroughly enjoyed the trio of desserts. It was a nice variety, and all 3 selections were delicious. Clearly, I enjoyed every bite. After the delicious meal was over, I decided I'd better try to get some sleep. The flight attendant came by and prepared my bed for me, complete with a seat pad, a pillowcase for my pillow, and a thick comforter. Climbing in, I found the lie-flat seat to be comfortable, but I did wonder if the footwell might feel restricted to people who are taller than me. I found a cozy position and turned off the lights. And with my air vents on high throughout the night, I slept really well and didn't wake up until it was time for breakfast. Breakfast was served 2.5 hours before landing, which I thought was a bit on the early side. But on the plus side, it was one of the best breakfasts I've ever had on a flight. It was served as 2 courses, with the first course consisting of fresh fruit, yogurt, chicken breast and smoked turkey, cheese with fresh vegetables, and honey and butter. Everything was fresh and flavorful. I was also excited when the flight attendant served the flat white, which I had ordered from the coffee menu. For my second course, I had ordered the tomato and avocado omelet with roasty potatoes and cherry tomatoes, along with a croissant. The omelet looked beautiful, and it was so good. Cooked perfectly, fluffy, and full of flavor. And the roasty potatoes underneath made it even better. It was the perfect combination. I wasn't even very hungry when breakfast was served, so my clean plate is a testament to how good the food really was. Since breakfast had been served so early, we still had over 90 minutes before landing, so I decided to start the movie Wicked. I was going to be flying Turkish Airlines again in a few days, so I figured if I ran out of time, I could finish it on the next flight. The flight attendant passed out chocolates after breakfast, and I also ordered another flat white to enjoy during the movie. It was the perfect ending to a pretty terrific flight. I received one final scented wet towel, and then we were making our approach into Istanbul. So what did I think of my latest flight with Turkish Airlines? Was it as good as my earlier experience with the airline? I'm sure it's no surprise to hear that my answer is yes. I had a great time on this flight. Turkish Airlines proved themselves to me yet again. The hard product is impressive and provides a lot of privacy, especially for the even row window seats. And I found the seat to be quite comfortable, when upright and when lying flat. I also thought the bedding was great. I especially appreciated the seat pad and the thick comforter. Moreover, the soft product was outstanding. The flight attendants and the flying chef all did a great job throughout this long flight, and the food service in particular was fantastic. In terms of negatives, it's tough for me to find fault with anything, but if pressed, I can think of 3 small things. First, I would have preferred breakfast to have been served closer to landing. Second, I would have appreciated pajamas on such a long flight. And third, I would have preferred having control over the window darkening shades. But honestly, if that's all I can come up with, it was clearly a pretty great experience. If you're wondering how much I paid for this trip, you might be surprised by my answer. As I mentioned, this was the first of 7 flights for an around-the-world award trip that I booked through ANA Airlines. For all 7 flights, 6 of which were in business class, I paid a total of 125,000 points, plus $791.40 in taxes and fees. It's truly one of the best deals out there, but sadly, they're no longer offering it as of June 2025. So I feel incredibly lucky that I was able to take advantage of such a great deal while it was still available. I will be reviewing all 7 of my around-the-world flights in the coming weeks, so I hope you'll stay tuned for those videos. Thanks for coming along today. Comment below if you have any questions, and if you've flown with Turkish Airlines or if you've taken advantage of ANA's around-the-world deal, I'd love to hear about it. Also, if you enjoyed this video, I hope you'll hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It's a great way to help the channel and enables me to make more videos like this one. Until next time, happy travels.